So, a few days ago, I think I was recording the part where I met Gilbert Bates, and I revealed more of Vergil's backstory about, let's see, a few days ago. Unfortunately, because I forgot to record after the game crashed, I can't show the footage here. So, what I'm going to show is evil choices. Um, Retrospectively, for Vergil's conversation, I probably should have chosen the nicer options where I'm encouraging him to open up and not being a douche to him and saying to just be quiet, that I don't care about his religion. But since that's an evil playthrough, that's what I had to say. I shouldn't have saved over, that's my point. But for now, I'm gonna splice the footage of me talking to those characters in this footage before I continue playing here. So I'll be right back. Oh yeah, the telegram. Yeah, we read this one in the main playthrough. But basically, he wants us to travel to Stillwater in order to meet with the Elder.
The telegram sent by Elder Joachim. I don't know what to make of it. It seems that he thinks it's very important to find out why these men are trying to kill you. Much more important than being here to protect you.
I don't need protection.
Oh, that's just bloody wonderful. Then maybe I'll just go home and leave you to get your skull smashed by... Listen, I don't understand this any more than you do. Not long ago, I'd have had a good belly laugh over this whole thing. What do you think?
I'm no religious fanatic. I think the whole story is a bit contrived.
So, you think me a religious fool? You think that all of this is just a coincidence? Perhaps a big misunderstanding? Why don't you just go ahead and tell that to the next man that comes to cut your bloody throat? Want to know what I think? I'd say there's nothing more contrived than a dead fool.
I think I've had enough of you, Vergil. Please
Listen,
leave.
I'm sorry. I have a short temper. I don't always
Wow.
think before I speak. I didn't mean to offend you. Please, I have a responsibility here. To Joachim. To myself.
I didn't know you can make Vergil that mad. So he steps forward, asks to strike, then backs down. Fine, let's just get out of here and find out what's really
All
going
right.
on.
Listen, Durant is a big city, and a man needs to watch what he does and who he talks to. Believe me, I know a lot about surviving in places like this. This and worse. Just keep one eye always open, and one hand always on your weapon. You can't trust strangers, and sometimes not even your friends. I used to...
Sounds like you know a lot about surviving in the streets.
Well, that was another time. I know my way around. Just be on your guard and I'll be watching out for you as well.
Vergil, what is it? Where do you come from?
No, I don't want to talk about it. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to... There's so much I have to learn. Joachim says the free man is defined by what he does today. I look no more behind me.
I see. Let's go, Vergil.
Yes. Let's keep moving forward.
Yep, Vergil's dark past. Clearly he's hiding something, but who knows what it is. It sounds a lot really interesting to me to, like, take all this stuff.
Allow me to introduce myself. I am Gilbert Bates, as I'm sure you may have surmised. I'd like to extend my thanks to you, madam, for putting an end to the difficulties at my factory. I've been informed that there is a matter you wish to discuss.
What can you tell me about the recent attempt on your life?
There's not much, really, as Chucker is given to overzealousness in his protection of my person. He rendered the interloper lifeless before I could question him. All he had on his person was an amulet bearing the symbol of the Molochian hand, the eye in the hexagram.
The Molochian hand?
They were a religious order of assassins some 500 years ago. Rumors of their continued existence surface periodically, but are usually proven to be hoaxes. I figure this for a new group trying to adopt some of the prestige of the name.
They seem to be after me as well.
Let us hope for both our sakes that they are mere pretenders to the name, then. I would be loath to have the authentic Malokians out for my blood.
Well, I'd like to ask you about this ring.
Great gods! How did you come by that ring?
A gnome gave it to me as he lay dying.
A gnome? What manner of tomfoolery is this? Are you certain it was not a dwarf?
Of course. I've never seen a skinny, beardless dwarf.
Yes, I am familiar with the dwarves and their customs. Tell me, was there anything distinctive about this fellow?
He had a scar over his left eye.
By Alberic, I knew it in my heart. That was no gnome. It was Stennar Rockcutter.
Who's Stennar? Why would a dwarf shave his beard?
Stennar was an old friend of mine. But for him to cut off his beard, by the gods, it's unthinkable. But please, tell me, did he say anything to you before he died? Did he say anything about me?
He said he had escaped to warn us about the evil.
The evil? What evil? And where did he escape from?
He didn't say. I was hoping you would know what it meant.
Something horrible must have happened after I... Did he say anything else?
He referred to you as a boy. Why would he do that?
I do not know. Even though dwarves reckon time differently than humans, he must have realized that I am now an old man. Perhaps it is because I was but a boy when I betrayed his trust all those years ago.
How did you come to betray him?
That is quite the long tale. A tale of my shame, it is.
I'm listening.
It is ironic that my greatest mistake is that which brought me such wealth. As a youth, I was enamored of all things dwarven, so I sought out the nearest clan and attempted to impress them with my grasp of their technology. They laughed. It was obviously a novelty to them, a ridiculous human who had a natural bent towards technology. I suppose it didn't help that I was a mere 14 years old at the time. I became something they humored to entertain themselves. Stennar was the only one who truly called me friend in all those years, and betrayal is how I repaid his friendship. It was he who first showed me their steam engine, as he knew I could appreciate the beautiful intricacies of its design. They had left it to rust in a corner, as they had very little use for a device that would reduce the need for sheer physical power. Imagine a dwarf relying on a device to do his digging for him. It's preposterous. I asked him if I could tinker with it, perhaps improve on it, as I knew this was the key to becoming truly a part of the dwarven world. I quickly devised a way to use it to power a pump for draining the mines. When I fell all over myself trying to explain it to them, laughter was, once again, their only response. I knew I had to somehow gain their respect, so I hastily sketched some schematics and set out to prove my theory. The struggling human mining company that I brought the plans to offered me a share in their mines for the steam pump. I was ecstatic. I had not a care for their mines or their money. I desired vindication. When I returned to the dwarves to boast of my accomplishments and be welcomed into their clan, they were gone. The inventions came quickly after that, fueled by my anger and confusion. How could they have denied me my place amongst them after all my labors? Somehow I felt I could still prove myself to them. I continued searching for them in all my spare moments, but to no avail. But then they came, the robed ones. They appeared to me late one night, and they warned me to never speak of, nor try to find the dwarves again. Still being a mere lad, you can imagine the terror that put into me. As my wealth and power grew, I shook off some of my youthful fear and hired the first in a long chain of investigators to locate Stennar and his clan. None of them ever returned with any worthwhile information, and some never returned at all. The ones that did told of vicious traps and creatures attacking them from the shadows. As word of these failures spread, it became more and more difficult to find souls brave enough to take on the challenge.
Why did he send me here with your ring?
He knew that ring would lend veracity to your tale. I gave Stenner that ring the last time I saw him. Now he is dead. If only we knew what he meant by the evil.
Vergil here thinks it has something to do with his religion.
I don't put much stock in religious ramblings myself. But if you feel it could help you to get more information on the Panari, you should go to their temple on the northern end of Lion's Head Circle. I'm more concerned with who killed Stenner and why, and what all this has to do with my relationship with the Black Mountain clan.
So what is to be done now?
There must be some clue left in the Black Mountain mines. I am certain of this. You seem to be a resourceful individual. Would you be interested in searching the mines for some clue as to their whereabouts? I would make it worth your while, I can assure you.
I'd like to ask you some further questions before I commit myself.
Of course. What do you wish to ask of me?
You didn't actually invent the steam engine?
I have never actually claimed that I did. It was just people's assumption. I have invented any number of devices based off its principles, but I did not invent the first one.
What did you think would happen when we sold the engine?
Such is the enthusiasm, or perhaps the impetuousness of youth, that I did not stop to consider the consequences of my actions. All I could see was a way to gain the respect of the dwarves. It was all that mattered.
Must be unsettling to get so much praise for the steam engine.
Yes, it is, and it torments me every day. I was but a child when the robed ones gave me their dire warnings, and I was terrified. They were explicit that I was not to reveal the origins of the steam engine.
Might I ask you a few more questions?
Of course. What do you wish to ask of me?
Why the need to impress the dwarves after they rejected you?
You don't understand. I was orphaned at a young age. The dwarves represented everything I wanted my family to be. A tight-knit clan, and the respect I had for their brilliance with technology. I made the mistake common to youth. I thought intelligence equaled compassion. I needed to belong, to find that I had some worth.
You were orphaned. What happened?
My mother died, bringing me into this world. I believe my father died then as well, even though he continued to exist in the world for some 8 more years. When he could stand living no longer, he took his own life.
But abandoning you like that?
He left me decently provided for, and with his grasp on reality becoming more tenuous each day, I believe he felt I would be safer in the care of others. The last thing he did in this life was to give me that ring.
And then you gave it to Stenner?
That is how much his friendship meant to me. I was devastated when he disappeared with the rest of the clan. I believe I felt more deserted and alone then than I did when my father killed himself.
Perhaps you can answer a few more questions.
Of course. What do you wish to ask of me?
Let's see, and can you tell me about your business?
Well, as you know, I am the foremost manufacturer of steam engines in Arcanum, virtually without competition. I am working on a prototype for a smaller, more efficient engine right now, as a matter of fact. I also have various interests in other technological endeavors.
How have you devastated competition so?
It is not much of an accomplishment when old Cedric Appleby is your chief competitor. Poor Cedric. Always was a bit of a blundering fool. I really wish I could have convinced him to come work for me.
Why? I mean, if he's such an idiot.
Cedric and I were close friends when we were children. He was furious that I wouldn't introduce him to the dwarves. Can you imagine? I had a difficult enough time gaining their respect without his simple-mindedness. After I invented the steam engine, he began to despise me. Strangely enough, I wish he was still my friend some days.
Can I ask some more questions?
Of course. What do you wish to ask of me?
And now I want to ask about the Leapers.
Well, as you know, I am the
labor
Why do you ask? You're not a labor sympathizer, are you? A unionizer, perhaps? I can assure you, my workers are happy to have the jobs I give them. I treat all orcs, true blood and half-breed alike, better than any other factory owner. Of that I can assure you.
I'm sure you believe that, you racist oppressor? Nah. I didn't mean to imply anything, simply curious.
Yes, I can understand that, with all the talk of labor difficulties and protests in all the journals. But in answer to your original question, I believe that I am fortunate to have been spared a lot of the problems others have been experiencing with their workers. I do believe it is because I treat my workers better than most. Why, their working conditions are almost human.
Almost, he says. But, if I may, I have a few more questions.
Of course. What do you wish to ask of
And
me?
I decided to explore the Black Mountain Clan's
Splendid! Here, let me mark your map with the location of the Black Mountain mines. I am certain there must be some clues to be found there. Please, return as soon as you have found anything.
I shall return with the information you requested.
Oh, one more thing. I would like to purchase my ring back from you. I'd give you 200 coins. It would mean quite a bit to me. My father gave it to me before he died.
That is not enough.
You will have to excuse an old man whose hearing is drifting away. I know that I could not have heard you refusing my generous offer.
Your offer was
You
insulting.
dare? I've beaten women within inches of their lives for less than that. Give me the ring now. You get nothing.
You'll get something, my foot planted in your nether regions. There's literally no option to give it.
Shaka!
You're evil.